I mentioned to Lawrence earlier, Josh, that I'm doing it again. And there is a disappointing performance where we pick apart all the things that keep going wrong with all their self-imposed headwinds. And then we say, well, Dylan Cease is going. The opponent isn't that good. Maybe they'll take care of business and everything will just end up being okay. I keep doing that, and I haven't been right yet.
I'm doing the same thing, Dan. I think you and I have had this conversation, Dan, all season.
I know.
Since May, we've been feeling this way, and it's August. And, the only bright side is that if the White Sox win the next 3 games, because Minnesota is facing Toronto, even though it's at home, and Cleveland is facing Houston, even though they're home, there's still a good chance that after this weekend, the Chicago White Sox are tied for first place in the American League Central, just because all 3 of these American League Central teams are mediocre. And it just so happens to be luck of the draw this weekend for the White Sox that they're facing a bad Texas Rangers team, while their division rivals, Minnesota and Cleveland, are facing true American League contenders.
Josh, I was listening to the podcast yesterday, and I should have probably texted Josh to prompt him for this, but I think he's probably got the numbers on recall. For my partner, Dan Bernstein, Josh, can you go through the additions to this White Sox team by Rick Hahn and what their wins above replacement is?
All right, hold on. Let me get those notes real quick for everyone that's on Twitch watching this stream.
You're just toying with me today, Lawrence.
You're
just pushing buttons on the Sox machine.
Look, I was listening to Josh and Jim do their thing, and because we had an early day yesterday. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, it's like, there's something that I'm going to bring back for the hit tomorrow. Josh, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, so Rick Hahn's offseason, where he signed Lurie Garcia and Josh Harrison and Vince Velasquez and Kendall Graveman and Joe Kelly, and traded for Reese McGuire and traded for A.J. Pollock, and then flipped Reese McGuire for Jake Diekman. All right, you got about 8 players there. And the collective cost of all 8 players is more than $45 million, the most money that any White Sox GM has ever spent in an offseason. Collectively, as a group, they're below 5 WAR total for the 2022 season.
And what is one Fangraphs win worth at the moment? $9 million?
Usually we say about 8 to 9 million, but I have to double check because you have some players that are performing very well that are not getting paid a lot of money, so they may be dragging that down.
Okay, I'm just
so one could look at that and say, the White Sox are paying about $10 million per win, which, okay, that's not too bad when you look at it in that facet. But when you add 8 players and collectively they're below 5 WAR, well, then you need to add impact talent to what you perceive as your championship core, and that is not happening.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
That is brutal. And that isn't just presuming that if the normal, just to fill out your roster for a win, my point is you're going to have to pay for wins. And that's out. You went out to get that stuff, and so you're not even getting one serious overperformance. That's also unlucky, is it not?
I mean, your serious overperformer is Johnny Cueto, which Johnny Cueto accumulates more than half of that WAR.
It didn't cost anything. Like that, the guy off the street.
Yeah, exactly. You got him in May. So that even makes it look worse when you remove Johnny Cueto from the list. It most definitely looks a lot worse. And, we looked at this in the prism of just Rick Hahn's collective work in 2022. And all week, you guys, and rightfully so, every guest that you've had on talking about the White Sox, even Ryan McGuffrey from NBC Sports Chicago is getting on Rick Hahn and the White Sox front office for their poor performance at the trade deadline. But it's just not the trade deadline. They had a bad offseason. And it is a reoccurring theme. And you heard it when Rick Hahn spoke about the trade deadline and when you analyze what happened in the offseason. The White Sox front office is not reading the market at all. They did not have a good grasp of the market pre-lockout when things got super crazy a couple of days before the lockout and we saw all these free agents signed. They did not have a good grasp on how the market was going to operate post-lockout which is why for a long time we were thinking that Craig Kimbrell was still going to be part of the Chicago White Sox roster until April 1st when he got traded a week before opening day for A.J. Pollock. And I think Rick Hahn honestly got surprised again at the trade deadline on how a team like Tampa Bay was able to get David Peralta days before the deadline because they just don't have a good finger on the pulse on how quickly things are going to move, whether it's via trade or via free agency. So to be constructive or to provide constructive criticism to Rick Hahn, because I'm assuming he's still going to have his job for next season, he needs to bring in a new assistant general manager, and that is their specific role, is to understand the market, understand what the market is for free agents, what's the market for trades, to be in the know, be in the hive mind with all of these agents and build those relationships, because this is something the White Sox are sorely missing. It is proof in the pudding right now as far as the type of results that you're getting. And it's one thing to not be able to sign impact players, Dan. It's another thing when you are spending all of this money and now you can't spend money wisely. That is a really bad combination for any type of general manager in any professional sport. You don't want to be the one known that I can't sign star players and I don't spend your money well. Typically, you don't keep your job.
How bad have things been for Yasmani Grandal since he's come back?
Well, here's some positive numbers for you. Out of 32 catchers that have at least 200 plate appearances in Major League Baseball this year, Yasmani Grandal ranks 31st in WAR, 30th in WRC+. His catching framing runs is 2 above average, which is not bad. His strikeout rate is 48.6%. That is almost 5% worse than Seby Zavala. When you are looking on paper for the Chicago White Sox catching situation, I can make a very strong case that Seby Zavala should be your primary catcher for the rest of the season because I don't know what happened to Yasmani Grandal.
That was my question. Why? It can't just be the injuries he's dealt with. It can't. Why?
He can't. That's a great question. I went on Baseball Savant after last night's game, Dan, because in that 8th inning, I think on that particular pitch in 2021, Yasmani Grandal does some serious damage on an inside fastball. And maybe he drives in that run at third base, or even better, he hits a home run. And instead, he hits a fly ball to left field with an exit velocity of 82 miles per hour. And his exit velocity on any type of pitch has taken a dramatic drop-off in 2022. And even worse, it is borderline questionable now if Yasmani Grandal could hit a changeup or a breaking pitch. If you are a major league pitcher right now, don't throw him the fastball because he can't hurt you. If you throw a curveball, a slider in the zone, a changeup in the strike zone, Yasmani Grandal can't hurt you. And now the benefit of him batting every day in the lineup, whether it's catcher or DH for the White Sox, is, well, maybe he could walk. He's the slowest Major League Baseball player. So what benefit is it having him walking and standing on first base? And if somebody hits a gapper, he might get to third. Like, there's not a lot of benefit to playing Yasmani Grandal every day. And I know White Sox fans got really excited because everyone's healthy and everyone's in the lineup. I'm going to make the argument that not everyone should be in the lineup at the same time currently because Yasmani Grandal is the second worst catcher in Major League Baseball right now for the everyday starters, or at least getting everyday playing time with plate appearances. And I can't believe I'm saying this. The White Sox probably should be playing Seby Zavala more in this last stretch. Now, that doesn't mean Seby Zavala should be the starting catcher in 2023. It should still be Yasmani Grandal. But you are in a division race here, and you are running out of time, and you can't wait around and hope that Yasmani Grandal catches fire. At this point, you're just going to have to play the hot hand, and the hot hand is Seby Zavala over Yasmani Grandal.
This was an enlightening conversation as per usual. And
you want to talk about Andrew Vaughn's defense? I got those updated numbers.
Please go right ahead.
Real quick, give us in 40 seconds or less.
123 outfielders on Baseball Savant. Andrew Vaughn ranks 121st in outs above average. He has cost the White Sox 9 outs. His success rate on fly balls hit to him is 77%, where the estimated success rate is 88% for major leaguers. And he is the worst outfielder against left-handed batters when he's playing in right field, which you pretty much want to have a decent right fielder when a left-handed batter is at the plate.
Go White Sox.
Andrew Vaughn. the White Sox, Andrew Vaughn should not be playing right field at all. If he plays in the outfield, just put him in left field. He is drowning in right field.
Josh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
we
thanks a
appreciate
lot.
it.
Awesome.
Have a great Friday, everyone.
That is Josh Nelson of the Sox Machine. Listen to him and our buddy Jim Margulis. They do a great job. They've got great stuff. Like, if you want to go through some of it, and he's right. Someone was like, wait a minute, but Johnny Cueto's on that list. Yeah,
he is.
That's how bad it is. Is that Johnny Cueto is the lion's share of the 5 WAR that this front office's additions put together.